actually bridge our time to make sure that it is passed speedily.
Mr. Imedu Entry says after the public hearing, the committee will sit and examine the bill clause by clause, with proponents of the bill expected to be in attendance. The committee will also consider provisions in the 1992 Constitution, Ghana's cultural values, as well as glean from examples of other African countries that have gone through similar processes. He assured that members of the committee are well versed in the country's religious and cultural values, hence should remain neutral during the deliberations.
Is what we are doing in accordance with law or not? Then if the proponents of the bill had gone in, we now have to weave our way through and then clear what is not right, what is not lawful, and then we would submit a report to the plenary. What I'm very sure is that this bill would be passed, but even would not be passed in the state that we have it.
The Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill proposes a punishment of 3 to 5 years prison term for persons involved in and promotion of LGBTQI plus practices. It also recommends that persons who need medical treatment to help them stop the practice should be able to have access to such interventions. The Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, on Tuesday, November 9, began a pilot project at Klotik Holi Municipality, with the first batch of vendors issued their street food vending permits and complaint stars in line with what they call a street food licensing scheme. The authority says it is moving into an era of no street food vending, no permit, no business. This, it says, is to ensure that all street food vendors comply with good hygienic practices to protect public health and safety. We are joined via telephone by the head of Food Safety Management Department of FDA, Madam Joyce Nejakwemusa, to shed more light on this campaign. Hello, good afternoon, Madam, and thank you so much for joining News Hour.
Good afternoon.
Madam, what is this new campaign of no street food vending permit, no business?
Thank you very much. We are now giving permits to street food vendors. So we are saying that now, as a street food vendor, make sure that you apply, you go through the good hygienic practice training, and you come and inspect your facilities. Then we would issue you with a street food vending permit once you comply with the good hygienic practice. So we are now moving to the era of no street food vending permit, no business. So consumers should also look out for the permit when they go out to buy.
So the permit becomes a license for the street food vendors to operate. What does this license entail?
So the license is saying that they have gone through the good hygienic practice training and they have complied with it, based on which they are being issued with a street food vending permit.
So what happens to food vendors who do not qualify?
We have just launched the permit, and we are training them. We are now taking them through training and then inspection. So the first batch who have complied are the ones we issued with the permit.
Okay.
So we are hoping that more of them will comply, and then we'll be issuing them with the permit.
So how long will this campaign take? Can you tell us the duration of this campaign?
This is just the beginning, because it's something that we want to sustain. It's not something that is for a period and then it's finished. This is food that both of us, myself, yourself, we enjoy every day. And we want to make sure that genders are handling it such that when we eat, we would not have foodborne illnesses. So this is not something that is going to end. It is now the way we are going.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Madam, for the explanation. The Ghana Grid Company says on Tuesday, November 9, a communication mast collapsed and fell on its 330 kV Abuazi Kumasi transmission line, resulting in the collapse of 2 adjacent towers. This has affected the national power system and result in some load management. GridCo says it is working around the clock to replace the fallen towers within the shortest possible time. GridCo says it is committed to maintain a stable network for reliable and efficient power delivery. The incident happened near Western region. GridCo apologizes for any inconveniences caused. A 77-year-old man has been arrested for posing and practicing as a medical doctor at Peki in the South Dai district of the Volta region. According to a joint team of the Volta Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority and the Volta Regional Police Command who apprehended him, Mr. Harrison's activities go against the Public Health Act and also put people's health at risk.
The Volta Regional Office of the Food and Drugs Authority said the activities of self-acclaimed Dr. Harrison have been on its radar for some time now. Hence, upon picking intelligence on his whereabouts, officers of the authority, in collaboration with the drugs unit of the Volta Regional Command, went to effect the arrest of the suspects on Monday, November 8, at about 10 p.m. at Peki in the South Dai district of Volta region. Items retrieved from his residence after research include medical equipment and a variety of medicines, some of which the authority could not vouch for its safety. Briefing the media at Ho, the Volta Regional Director of the Food and Drugs Authority, Mr. Gordon Akurugu, said the operation and activities of Mr. Harrison do not conform to the country's Public Health Act. He said the authority is committed to ensuring public health safety in the region and urged the public to be careful about where they seek healthcare services.
We have seen his practice not be conforming with the Public Health Act. Who knows the number of people Dr. Harrison has killed, Dr. Harrison has put into certain condition now. We want people to be careful of whoever walk to them for medical conditions.
Investigations have started into the operations of Mr. Harrison, after which he will be processed to face the law.
Pupils writing this year's basic education certificate examinations BECE have less than a week to begin writing their papers. According to a new timetable released by the West Africa Examination Council WAEC, the 2021 examination is scheduled to begin from November 15 and end on Friday, November 19, 2021. Unlike previous BECE, candidates will be writing social studies and French on Monday, November 15, instead of the usual English and RME, which have both been shifted to Wednesday, 17th November. Joining us on the phone is the head of public affairs at WAEC, Mrs. Agnes Tay Kujo, for further explanations. Good afternoon, Mrs. Tay Kujo.
Good afternoon.
Madam, it is less than a week for the exams to start. Is WAEC set for the exams on Monday?
Yes, the council is ready for the conduct of the exam on Monday.
So do we have any peculiar reason why the students will be writing social studies and French on Monday instead of English and RME?
Well, the timetable for the examination is not a fixed one. So this year we decided to modify the timetable a bit.
All right. So can you also tell us the number of candidates for this year's exams? And maybe you give us the distribution, female and male proportion.
For this year's BECE, we have 571,894 candidates who will be taking the examination. There are 287,605 males and 284,289 females. These candidates are from 18,028 schools.
Okay.
And they will be taking the examination at 158 centers throughout the country.
Okay, Madam, as we know, COVID-19 is still around. So do we have an increase in the centers as a compliance to COVID safety protocols this year?
Yes. They are supposed to be seated at least 25 candidates in an examination room instead of 30. So there should be adequate spacing, and all the COVID-19 protocols should be observed at the center.
So how many centers are we having this?
We have 2,158 centers.
Okay. And what was the number as of last year? Is it the same number or there is an increase?
We have an increase in the centers. Last year we had 2,007 centers.
Okay, finally, before you go, the integrity of work is at play, and so have you put in place to safeguard the integrity of the examination, the council as a whole?
The council is doing a few things differently to secure the examination and to make sure that everything goes on successfully. At the end of the examination, we'll be able to tell you more of what we did, because we out those security features in the public domain.
Thank you very much, Madam. Madam Agnes Kujo is the head of public affairs of WAEC, and she's been talking about the BECE, which starts on Monday, November 15. There are reports that candidates for the 2021 Basic Education Certificate examination will choose their preferred schools after the examinations. This is contrary to the usual practice where pupils choose their school months ahead of their exams. Efforts to get a response from the Ghana Education Service proved futile. We will update you on this development when information is available. You're still live on GBC News and watching News after this break. You're still watching News Alive on GBC News and GTV. Now let's go to the Eastern region. The Alternative Dispute Resolution ADR program has been extended to 131 courts throughout the country, with 5 mediators assigned to each court. This means parties who have cases pending in the courts that are connected to the program are given the opportunity to have their cases settled through mediation. A justice of the Court of Appeal and judge in charge of ADR Week, Justice Irene Charity Labi, disclosed this at the launch of the 2021 ADR Week in Koforidua in the Eastern region.
The Alternative Dispute Resolution was instituted in 2005 as an intervention to ease the pressure on the regular court system and to create a platform that will offer factions the opportunity to play a key role in resolving their disputes. To promote and entrench this intervention, a week in every legal year is set aside to sensitize the public. The High Court Civil Procedure Rules 2004 provides the basis for speedy and effective delivery of justice, avoid unnecessary expenses, and ensure that all matters and disputes between parties are finally determined. The Justice of the Court of Appeal and Judge in charge of ADR Week, Her Ladyship Justice Irene Charity Labi, said a total of 5,455 cases were mediated, out of which 2,312 cases were settled, while 4,626 were referred for further investigation. 1,941 cases were settled, while 1,946 are still pending.
These rules shall be interpreted so as to achieve speedy and effective justice, avoid delays and unnecessary expense, and ensure that as far as possible, all matters in dispute between parties may be completely, effectively, and finally determined, and the multiplicity of proceedings concerning any of such matters avoided.
The theme for 2021 ADR Week is making our court user-friendly use of ADR.
The General Overseer of Glorious Word Power Ministry International, Reverend Bempa, and 2 others who were earlier charged for the threat of death on Nana Grada have been re-arrested. This was after they were discharged by the Circuit Court. State prosecutors led by Chief Inspector Dennis Tekbete asked the court to discharge the accused persons with an indication that plans were afoot to press new charges. Once the court granted this request, they were arrested. The prosecutors intend to file the new charges before the close of the day. Hungary has donated 800,000 doses of Vaxzevria AstraZeneca vaccines to Ghana. It is the largest donation Hungary has ever made to its international partners.
The donation is worth 1.4 million euros. It was presented by the Hungarian ambassador, Mr. Tamás André Fayer, and received by the Deputy Minister for Health, Mr. Mohamed Seiseni, and the head of COVID-19 Commodities Committee, Mr. Matthew Treme. Mr. Tamás Fayer was hopeful the donation will aid in the prevention and spread of COVID-19.
This shows how much we value the friendship of Ghana. Ghana is a very important partner for us in the sub-Saharan African region, and we hope to continue this excellent cooperation that we've had established with the people of Ghana and the government of Ghana.
The Deputy Minister for Health, Mr. Seiseni, said the vaccines will immediately be deployed before it expires at the end of the month.
This will go a long way to cover beyond and above our target. We are saying that Hungary is one of the best partners to our counter-aid in this crucial moment.
The consignment came along with a technician to ensure that through the transportation processes, the quality of the vaccines are not compromised. The Vaxzevria is administered as 2 injections. The second dose should be given between 4 and 12 weeks after the first dose. Vaxzevria works by preparing the body to defend itself against COVID-19. It is made up of another virus, that is the adenovirus, that has been modified to contain the gene for making the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. This is a protein on the surface of SARS-CoV-2 virus, which the virus needs to enter the body cells. Once it has been given, the vaccine delivers SARS-CoV-2 gene into the cells of the body. The cells will then use the gene to produce the spike protein. The person's immune system will then recognize this protein as foreign and produce antibodies to activate the T cells that is the white blood cells, to attack it. If later on the person comes into contact with SARS-CoV-2 virus, the immune system will recognize it and be ready to defend the body against it. The adenovirus in the vaccine cannot reproduce and does not cause disease. Combined results from 4 clinical trials in the United Kingdom, Brazil and South Africa showed that Vaxzevria was safe and effective at preventing COVID-19 in people from 18 years of age.
Well, we go to the Volta region, and now we know that NADMO has sent its first consignment of relief items to tidal wave victims in the Keta and Keta South municipalities. So on the telephone line now is the acting Volta Regional Director of NADMO, Mr. Ebenezer Azuma, to tell us more on the developing issue. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on News Hour.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good. Can you tell us the number of people who have been displaced so far in this incident?
So far, per our assessment, we have registered a little about 4,000 individuals.
Over 4,000 individuals have been affected by the tidal waves. Okay,
yeah,
so
4,000 in Angola, Keta, and Keta South all together.
All right. So, sir, we are having reports that there were reports of evacuating the affected people. Has it already started? Where are they now in those 3 communities that you've mentioned?
Yes, there's something like that. We've been able to identify some places for the areas that are. And then these places are school buildings, some churches, and then community centers.
So what kind of assistance have the NADMO offered the victims?
NADMO is, when it happens like this, we also come in to give some relief items that can at least sustain them for some time. So we are able to raise and non-food items for them. And then a team of people were led to the station yesterday by the Deputy Director General in charge of manpower. And then we have items like rice and cooking oil, and that is in terms of food items. When we come to non-food items, we have mattresses, soaps, bedspread, blankets. We also have washing bowls, soap, mosquito net, mosquito coil, drinking cups, and the eating bowls, and the bathing bucket. Those are the things that we have been able to lay our hands on so far and have equally distributed to the affected people.
So, Mr. Azuma, briefly give us a picture of the area as of today. Is it the same as it was on Monday or Tuesday, or has there been?
I'll say there's a little bit change, but it's significant. Less than 10%.
All right then. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. And we've been speaking to the acting Volta Regional Director of NADMO, Mr. Ebenezer Azuma. Management Organization, NADMO, has deployed the first consignment of relief items to tidal wave victims in the Keta and Keta South municipalities and Anglo districts of the Volta region. This will provide the displaced residents with their basic needs to partially alleviate their plight. The Deputy National Director General of NADMO in charge of manpower, Mr. Saji Ameduno, distributed some of the items at GridCo in the Keta municipality. Said NADMO is assessing the situation in the affected areas and will bring in some more support when necessary. Some communities along the coastline of the Volta region were badly hit by torrential tidal waves over the weekend.
The torrential tidal waves ravaged about 17 communities in the Keta and Ketu South municipalities and the Anglo district. NADMO says over 4,000 residents are displaced and have sought refuge in churches, community centers and others putting up with neighbors. GBC News visited badly hit communities such as Salakope, Amuchino, Agaveji and Adina in the Ketu South municipality and Kejikope in the Keta municipality. Parts of these communities are highly devastated and residents fear the next tidal waves will wreak more havoc. Their only hope is for the government to construct a sea defense wall as a long-term measure against the perennial tidal waves. Some residents spoke to GBC News.
I really don't know where to sleep now. To me, like I'm sleeping with one of my colleagues. With my parents to other neighbors to sleep with them. They are calling on the government, the authorities to come to our aid.
Most of the affected communities, especially in the Ketu South municipality, are situated in between the sea and the Keta Lagoon, and residents who are mainly fisherfolks and salt miners depend on the water bodies for their livelihood. With there being no vast land in those communities for housing projects for resettlement, the residents fear that their communities will be submerged by the sea and the lagoon. Their fear is also that their existence and history will be washed away. NADMO officials, led by the Deputy National Director General of NADMO in charge of manpower, Mr. Seji Saja Amedonu, has deployed relief items including assorted foods, drinks, beverages, toiletries, mattresses, among others, to affected residents at Kejikope, where some of the items were distributed. The Municipal Chief Executive for Keta, Mr. Emmanuel Gemega, said the Assembly has already provided shelter and other basic needs to the victims.
We actually brought these people here basically because we didn't know how the situation was going to be like the next day night. So we brought them here and we've been feeding them ever since. And as you can see, some other things have been added by the NADMO.
The Deputy National Director of NADMO in charge of manpower, Mr. Seji Saji Amedon, said the Ministry of Works and Housing has begun processes to start the construction of the second phase of a sea defense project from Agaveji, one of the hard-hit communities to Aplau. He said NADMO will in the meantime continue to support the victims with their basic needs.
This thing occurs periodically, once a while, sometimes twice in a year. Once a year it happens. And when it happens, because of the peculiar nature of this, people are affected. And our job as a disaster management organization is to try as much as possible to bring some relief to people who are affected when disaster occurs. So that is why we are here from the headquarters. But our staff have been here since the incident happened.
Mr. Medono later handed over a truckload of relief items to the heads of the municipal and district assemblies for onward distribution to the victims in the 17 affected communities.
We'll be right back with more stories. Please don't go away.
Good morning.
It's a good morning and we serve you breakfast.
Not just any breakfast.
Sizzling helping.
And there's much more on offer on GTV breakfast.
So what's your pleasure than Votras, yeah? At that time, of the morning.
You want it at buffet style, complimentary breakfast,
On-site restaurant,
or room service?
we've got you covered.
From Monday to Friday at 6 a.m.
With a trusted team.
So never skip breakfast.
On GTV Breakfast.
There are strong women whose stories teach us perseverance, logic, decisiveness, and self-confidence.
Progress towards closing the gender gap in internet access, with 29% of women now online, up from fewer than 20% in 2016. The Seeds for the Future Women in Tech program is designed to keep women abreast with current technological trends to enable them to take advantage of the country's digitization drive.
In Ghana, only about 50% of the population has internet access. Despite this, the tech scene in Ghana has seen some tremendous growth over the years. From software development, training, influencing, blogging, engineering to leadership roles with top global IT giants, women in Ghana have in recent times been blazing in the technological space. To this end, the need to grow and nurture more women to become technological minded has birthed the Women in Technology program. Female students of Anyasu Tum were elected as beneficiaries of the maiden edition of the program. At the ceremony, the Ghana Municipal Education Director, Mrs. Winfred Akubadago, lauded the tech program as it will see to the closing of the digital gap between men and women. The Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayoko-Botry, spoke of some interventions being taken by government to promote the country in the digital arena and also bridge the digital gender gap.
The government of Ghana has accordingly championed ICT education at all levels of our educational institutions. This is part of the government's firm resolve and commitment to achieve SDG 4, which calls for ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. The efficient teaching and deployment of ICT at all levels of our educational system is key to achieving SDG 4.
The Director of Public Relations Affairs of Huawei, Jenny Zhu, said the only way Ghana can match up with the developed world is when the country leverages on technology to accelerate economic development.
The link between academia and work was the topic for deliberation when fellows from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, met with members of the Design Technology Institute in Accra. The visit gave both institutions the opportunity to share ideas and explore potential collaboration between DTI and the Legatum Center of MIT, particularly in the areas of entrepreneurship and job creation.
In Ghana, insufficient exposure to industry and the real-world work environment may be one of the reasons that the transition to work can be particularly challenging for the youth. Fellows from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, met with their counterparts in Ghana to deliberate on ways members can transition smoothly into the world of work after academia. During the visit to DTI, fellows participated in a chat moderated by Professor Alex Dodu, the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, and Ms. Constance Swanika, the CEO of DTI. Issues discussed during the chat included gaps in youth employability, scaling up of innovation in Africa, precision quality, and the role of the private sector in creating jobs and wealth creation in Africa. The Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, called for an intense skills training for the youth to make them more employable in the world of work.
When you provide all this and you provide a scheme which brings them onto the ladder, they cannot bid for government job. They cannot apply for contracts from GSA, from anywhere. That is the way to unlock their potential and create jobs. So despite all the big things, now we are all realizing that, yes, we've done the big things. The structures are all right. Industries are beginning to come. And if you don't give the skills to our people, we will be holding the wrong end of the spoon.
The CEO of DTI says industry demands excellence in standards and the youth needs to be embedded with such skills to fit in the world of work.
Look at the way we even transition our young people into work. I see that the academic institutions actually a lot of problem. How do we, in the disrupting the ecosystem, look at the bottlenecks? How do we go back to source and look at a TVET curriculum that hasn't been updated since 1978? But industry trends are changing so rapidly that there's the need for the curriculum to be living and to also adapt the demands of industry.
The 30 inaugural Ligatum Foundry Fellows from MIT hail from 8 countries including Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda and South Africa, among others. The fellows are all entrepreneurs who have started businesses in areas as diverse as healthcare, fintech, education and agribusiness.
You're still watching the business segment of News Hour. Ghana and 9 other countries in Africa have been selected by the U.S. government to benefit from investment projects to rival China's Belt and Road Initiative. The project, which takes off in January 2022, forms part of the move by the Biden administration to narrow the $40 trillion infrastructure investment that developing countries will need by 2035 and providing an alternative to problematic lending practices by China. The Biden administration has identified at least 10 promising projects in Ghana and Senegal. Currently, the U.S. officials are in talks with governments of Ghana and Senegal, as well as private sector leaders, as they hunt for projects to be funded under the Build Back Better World initiative launched by the G7 in June. So far, the 2 African countries have welcomed U.S. officials' assurances that, unlike China, the world's largest creditor, the United States would not require non-disclosure agreements or collateral agreements for grants and loans that could result in later seizure of ports or airports. Projects discussed included setting up a possible vaccine manufacturing hub for West Africa, bolstering renewable energy supplies, boosting lending to women-owned businesses, and narrowing the digital divide. Should the move be successful, the United States will offer developing countries a range of U.S. financial tools, including equity stakes, loan guarantees, political insurance, grants, and technical expertise to focus on climate, health, digital technology, and gender equality. Interbank markets, the cedi is trading at 5 cedis 90 pesos to the US dollar, to the pound sterling at 7 cedis 99 pesos, and to the euro at 6 cedis 30 pesos. That's it for the business segment. You have more news coming up. Please do stay.